Single dad saved his drunk boss from trouble. The next day, she didn't pretend to forget Daniel woke before the station lights shifted to morning mode. The small apartment was still dim, with only the blue glow of Earth outside the window. The planet looked calm from far away. White clouds moved slowly over deep oceans. Daniel always looked at it for a few seconds before starting his day. It reminded him that somewhere down there was a normal world where children played in real parks and people felt real wind. A soft voice came from the other room. "Dad, are you awake?" He turned from the window. "Yes, get ready. School shuttle comes soon." His daughter Mia walked out, rubbing her eyes. Her hair was messy and she held a small toy ship in her hand. She never slept without it. Daniel warmed some simple food and packed her bag. His moves were quick and quiet. He had done this alone for years. He checked her lessons on the tablet, fixed her collar, and smiled when she finally looked fully awake. "You will be late again," she said. "I am never late," he replied. She gave him a doubtful look. She was 10 but spoke like an adult sometimes. After breakfast, he walked her to the lift. Other station residents joined them. Workers, students, traders. The space station was like a small city floating above Earth. Ships came and went every day. Some were human. Some were not. Mia entered her shuttle line and waved. Daniel watched until the door closed. Only then did he turn toward his job. He worked in maintenance. Not a big title, but important. He fixed air filters, power lines, door locks, and sometimes broken robots. Quiet work, safe work. That was why he chose it. His supervisor that day sent him to Docking Ring C. A cargo latch was stuck. Daniel carried his toolkit and walked through long metal halls. The station hummed around him. That low sound never stopped. Some people hated it. For him, it felt like silence. At the docking ring, he fixed the latch quickly. He was good with his hands. He did not rush, and he did not guess. He checked every detail. When he finished, most workers were already leaving. His shift had ended, but he stayed a bit longer to file a report. He liked to finish things properly. By the time he left, the station lights had shifted to night mode. The halls were darker. Fewer people walked around. Cleaning drones moved along the floor with soft clicks. As he passed near a private docking bay, he heard loud voices. A woman's voice, angry, then laughing in a strange way. 2 other voices answered. Their tone was calm but cold. Daniel slowed his steps. He did not like trouble, but he had learned to notice it. He looked toward the sound. Near a small silver ship stood 3 figures. One was a woman in a dark suit, leaning slightly against a crate. In her hand was a glass bottle. Her words were not clear. Daniel recognized her after a moment. Director Leela, one of the top managers of the station. She was known to be strict and sharp. He had seen her only from far away. The 2 others were tall men in gray coats. Their skin looked pale under the dock lights. Their eyes reflected light too strongly, like glass. One of them held a thin data pad. "You only need to confirm," one man said softly. Lila laughed. "You picked the wrong night." "I don't sign things after drinks. It is already agreed," the second man said. Daniel saw the woman sway. She was drunk. Very drunk. That was strange for someone like her. The first man gently tried to guide her hand to the pad. Something about the scene felt wrong. Not just a drunk boss. The air felt tight, quiet. Even the cleaning drones were not near this bay. Daniel stepped closer. "She cannot sign anything in that state," he said in a calm voice. All 3 turned to look at him. Lila blinked, trying to focus. Who is that?" "Maintenance," Daniel said. "She needs rest." The two men stared at him without blinking. Their faces showed no anger, but no warmth either. "This does not concern you," one said. Daniel shrugged lightly. "If a station director signs a bad contract while drunk, it concerns everyone." For a second, no one spoke. Then one man looked at Daniel's jacket. It was old dark blue, with a faded patch on the shoulder. Most people would not notice it, but some would. The man's eyes narrowed slightly. Daniel did not change his expression. After a long moment, the man lowered the data pad. "We will return another time," he said. Both men turned and walked into their ship. The hatch closed fast. The ship left the dock within seconds, almost too fast for a normal trader. Daniel watched it go. He noticed a small symbol near the rear of the ship, a circle with 3 lines crossing it. Something about it pulled at his memory, but he could not place it. He then looked at Lila. She almost fell. He caught her before she hit the floor. "You should not be here alone," he said. She looked at him with half-open eyes. "They are... Yes," he said simply. He guided her to a transport cart and sent a message to the station clinic. A nurse drone arrived and helped. Daniel gave a short report but kept it simple. Drunk director. Possible pressure from traders. Nothing more. He did not want attention. When it was done, he started toward home. But his mind stayed on the symbol on that ship. He had seen it before, long ago, in a different life. He entered his apartment quietly. Mia was asleep. He fixed a loose blanket around her and sat by the window again. Earth still turned below. He touched the faded patch on his jacket without thinking. A habit from years past. He had promised himself that life was over. The next morning came too quickly. He prepared Mia for school again. She talked about a science test. He listened and nodded. Normal life. That was good. After she left, his tablet beeped. A direct message. From Director Lila. His first thought was that he was in trouble. Maybe for interfering. The message was short. "Come to my office. 9 o'clock. Alone." He sighed softly. At 9, he stood outside a high-level office door. Clean white walls. Quiet guards. He felt out of place in his work uniform. The door opened. "Enter," a clear voice said. He walked in. Lila sat behind a desk. She looked completely different from last night. Neat clothes, sharp eyes, no sign of alcohol. She studied him for a moment. "You are Daniel, Maintenance Sector 4, she said. "Yes. You helped me last night. Yes." She leaned back. "I remember everything." He stayed silent. She continued. "Those men were not simple traders." "I guessed," he replied. She tapped her desk, and a screen lit up. A frozen image of the silver ship appeared. "You noticed the symbol?" she asked. "Yes. And it looks familiar," he said. "But I cannot recall from where." She watched his face closely. "You were in the fleet years ago. It was not a question." Daniel did not react much. "Long time ago. You left after your wife died," she said quietly. He looked at her now, not angry, just careful. "Why am I here?" "Because those men left when they saw your jacket." He said nothing. She added, "And because that symbol belongs to a group Earth thought was gone." A small silence filled the room. Daniel finally spoke. "I am a maintenance worker. I have a child. That is all." Leela nodded slowly. "Maybe, but last night you stepped into something bigger without fear." He gave a small, tired smile. Fear does not help when someone is about to make a mistake. She studied him for a few more seconds. "Thank you for helping me," she said at last. "You may go, for now." He turned to leave. As he reached the door, she spoke again. "If anything strange happens, report directly to me." He gave a short nod and walked out. The rest of his day was normal on the surface. He fixed a broken panel. He replaced a filter. He answered a call about a stuck door. But twice, he felt watched. Once he turned quickly and saw nothing. Another time, a small drone in the hall moved away too fast. That evening, he picked up Mia from her class zone. She chatted happily. He tried to relax. As they walked, he noticed a small floating drone near the ceiling. Not a cleaning unit. Too small. Too still. His eyes followed it. The drone slowly turned as if looking at Mia. Daniel stopped walking. The drone moved away. He said nothing to Mia. He just guided her home faster. Later that night, when Mia slept, he checked the public camera feeds he had access to as a worker. He searched the hallway. He found a short clip. The same small drone followed Mia earlier. His jaw tightened. He replayed the image. On the drone side was a tiny mark, a circle with 3 lines, the same symbol. Daniel leaned back in his chair. The past, it seemed, had found him again. Outside the window, Earth looked peaceful. Inside the station, something had started to move. And Daniel knew quiet days might be ending. Daniel woke to the low hum of the station again. The usual lights glowed softly across the metal floors. He had slept little, thinking about the small drone and the symbol on its side. It was not normal. Nothing about the night with Lila was normal. He prepared breakfast for Mia in silence. She was cheerful as always, talking about a new game her teacher had introduced. Daniel smiled faintly, but did not answer much. His mind was elsewhere. After sending Mia to school, he received a secure message. It was from Lila. He hesitated, then opened it. "Report to my office immediately. Alone." The message was direct. No explanation, no greetings. He knew she remembered everything from the previous night. That could be dangerous, or it could be important. He arrived at her office on time. The guards outside gave him a quick nod, and he stepped in. Lila was seated behind her desk. She looked calm, confident, fully alert, completely sober. Her hair was neat, her clothes pressed, her eyes sharp. "Thank you for last night. I did what anyone would do," he replied. She was drunk. "It was unsafe." Lila shook her head slightly. "It was more than that. You stopped a disaster." Daniel frowned. "Disaster?" She leaned back, tapping a small screen on her desk. The image of the silver ship appeared. The strange circle with 3 lines was visible on its hull. "They were scouts," she said. "Guard, not simple traders. They are part of a hidden faction. They pressure humans secretly, take control of stations, steal data, and sometimes remove people who notice." Daniel's chest tightened. "And last night? They wanted station access codes. They thought they could trick me while I was drunk. You stopped them." Daniel glanced at her. He had never expected a simple act of caution would be part of something larger. "Why did they leave so quickly when I arrived?" Lila studied him. "Because of your jacket. You once served in the fleet, did you not?" Daniel's hand brushed the faded patch instinctively. "I left that life years ago. It is over." She smiled faintly but did not laugh. "The past is never over when people like them are involved. You fought against this faction once. They are thought defeated, but they survived, scattered, and are now resurfacing." Daniel's mind went back to memories he rarely thought about. Long patrols in space, ambushes in empty asteroid fields, the smell of burning metal in airless corridors. He had left that life after his wife's death. All he wanted was his daughter. Quiet days, safe days. He shook his head. I am a maintenance worker now. I fix doors and filters. That is all. Lila leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand. But you did more than maintenance last night. You protected lives without fear. That is why I need you to be aware. Something is coming. They will try again. Daniel's hand rested on the edge of the desk. And if I refuse? You cannot, she said firmly, not without risking the station and your daughter. You stopped them once, Daniel. They will not forget. He looked away at the large window behind her. Ships moved across the docking bays, shining with artificial lights. Above Earth, everything seemed peaceful, innocent. Yet he knew it was a fragile peace. What do you want me to do? He asked finally. Be observant, she said. Report unusual activity directly to me. Keep your family safe and prepare for more. They will not come openly again. Daniel nodded slowly. I can do that. She gave him a quick appreciative nod and handed him a small access card. This allows you restricted clearance to some security data, only for emergencies. Do not misuse it. Daniel took it without comment. His mind was already calculating, imagining the possibilities. He left her office and began walking through the station. Every corridor seemed different now. Every shadow felt like it could hide something. He checked his usual maintenance routes with extra attention, noting strange marks or signs. By mid-afternoon, he noticed the first unusual thing. A supply drone was hovering in the hall near the school zone. Its design was slightly wrong, as if it was not an official station model. He watched it quietly as it moved along the corridor, stopping for a few seconds near his daughter's classroom entrance before moving on. He followed at a distance, making sure no one noticed him. When the drone left, he inspected the floor and found a small residue of unknown alloy. It was not standard construction material. It was the same type used in the scouting ships he had seen in old fleet reports. His stomach tightened. This was not a coincidence. He returned to his apartment in the evening. Mia was already home. She talked about her school day with excitement, unaware of the danger lurking so close. Daniel made dinner quietly, listening to her chatter, smiling when she laughed. After dinner, Mia went to bed, clutching her toy ship. Daniel sat by the window again, thinking. The symbol, the drone, the unexpected recognition from Lila. Everything fit together. Something hidden was moving in the station, and it had noticed him. He checked his small personal storage. Inside was an old helmet and data pad from his fleet days. He had avoided them for years. Now he opened the pad. Holographic schematics of various alien ships appeared. Symbols marked their classes, their abilities, their weaknesses. The circle with 3 lines was in one corner. He traced it with his finger. It was the emblem of the faction that had attacked his fleet years ago. Thought defeated. Now resurfacing quietly, targeting humans in vulnerable positions. A soft beep drew his attention. A secure message. From Lila again. Emergency meeting. Tonight. Docking Bay D. Alone. Important. Daniel's heart rate increased. He had a feeling this night would not be ordinary. He prepared a small bag quietly. Tools, personal weapons from fleet days, and a portable communicator. Everything compact. Mia's safety was his first priority. He left a note on the table where she would see it in the morning. At Docking Bay D, he waited in the shadows. The bay was mostly empty. Ships rested quietly. The hum of engines was low. Only one figure approached from the shadows. Lila, fully alert, her movements precise, her eyes sharp. She nodded at him without greeting. "There is no time to explain fully," she said. "But the scouts will return. They are tracking the station. They have access to civilian drones. They can appear as anyone, even employees." Daniel's mind raced. "So I am supposed to do what?" "Observe, detect, protect," she said. "Your daughter and others are at risk. You already stopped them once. That was no luck. They know about you, and they will act carefully next time." Daniel's jaw tightened. "If they come near Mia, I will stop them. No excuses." She nodded, a small flicker of relief in her eyes. "I know you will. That is why I trust you. But understand this, if they see you as a threat, they will not hesitate. They will try anything to neutralize you quietly. Do not underestimate them." He glanced around the bay. Shadows shifted. The quiet hum of the station felt heavier. "What are they after?" he asked. "Data. Station access codes. Defense schematics. They want control without war." For now, Daniel swallowed. "And after control?" Lila's eyes darkened. "They take what they want, then move to the next target. Planets, colonies, stations. They have patience. They have numbers." Daniel's mind went back to the fleet days, ambushes, sudden attacks, losses. He had hoped those days were over, but it seemed the universe had different plans. He checked the bay, his instinct sharp. Every crate, every corner, every reflection could hide something dangerous. A soft sound, metal scraping against metal. He froze. Lila noticed too. Both turned slowly. Nothing. Then a small light blinked on a crate across the bay. A drone. Not official. He moved closer. Its sensors flickered. The symbol again. Circle with 3 lines. He signaled Lila. She nodded. Together, they approached. The drone moved faster than expected. He lunged and grabbed it, twisting carefully to avoid triggering an alarm. Inside, small data chips glowed faintly. Alien tech. He held it up. "They are already here," he said. Lila studied it. "And they will escalate. You must prepare. Keep your eyes open. Trust no one. Not even familiar faces. They can appear as anyone." Daniel's fingers tightened around the drone. He felt a familiar rush. Adrenaline, focus, calculation. Memories from fleet days returned. He was not just a maintenance worker anymore. Outside the bay, the station moved quietly. Lights blinked, engines hummed. For most, life was normal. For Daniel and Lila, the game had begun. And someone, somewhere, was watching. The quiet of the night held danger. And the next move would not be simple. Daniel left Docking Bay D later that night, his mind set. He would protect his daughter. He would observe, and he would stop the faction before it was too late. Outside, Earth rotated silently, unaware of the hidden threat above. Inside the station, small shadows moved. Symbols glowed faintly on hidden devices, and the watchers prepared to strike again. Daniel knew the night was only the beginning. The past had returned, and he was ready to face it. Daniel woke before the station lights changed again. His mind was restless. The drone from the previous night sat on his workbench, small and silent, its symbol glowing faintly. Circle with 3 lines. He had seen it before, during his fleet days, but that was many years ago. He brewed simple coffee while checking the drone. It was delicate, far more advanced than anything official on the station. Alien tech, that much was clear. It recorded movement, transmitted signals, and could be controlled remotely. Whoever sent it knew exactly what they were doing. His thoughts drifted to his daughter. Mia was safe in her school zone, but even there, she could be vulnerable. Daniel had learned long ago that danger often arrived where it was least expected. He had hoped those days were over. A soft beep from the tablet drew his attention, a message from Lila. Emergency meeting tonight, Docking Bay F. Bring what you need, alone. Trust no one, he sighed. This station had become a battlefield, invisible and deadly. He checked the small armory he kept from fleet days. Light weapons, EMP devices, portable shields. Nothing heavy. Too obvious. He packed a small bag, then inspected the drone again. It might give him clues. By mid-afternoon, he started his usual maintenance rounds, but with more caution. Every corner, every shadow, every worker he passed made him alert. Some smiled, some nodded, but Daniel now suspected anyone could be replaced. Anyone could be watching. He reached the cargo bay to check a blocked vent. As he worked, a soft hiss came from above. A small drone hovered silently just beyond the camera range. He froze, then smiled slightly. The same symbol. The scouts were still here. Daniel activated a small scanner from his bag. It traced the drone's signal, then suddenly the drone vanished. He frowned. It had disappeared faster than anything human made. The signal still pulsed faintly, leading him down a maintenance corridor. He followed it carefully, ducking behind pillars, keeping quiet. The corridor ended in a small service room. The drone was on the floor, flickering weakly. Someone had left it there. A test, perhaps. Daniel picked it up. The tiny chips inside glowed with alien energy. He recognized the coding style. The faction had evolved since the fleet days. Smarter, faster, more patient. He set the drone aside and returned to his apartment. Mia greeted him cheerfully, holding a drawing she had made. Daniel smiled faintly, hiding his worry. They ate a simple dinner. He told her bedtime stories, all normal. The chaos outside, the hidden danger, had to stay invisible to her. After she slept, he studied the drone again. He connected a portable analyzer. Patterns, codes, and signals appeared on the screen. The faction was tracking movement on the station. They knew positions, habits, and even weak points. Daniel's mind worked quickly. A sudden thought struck him. If they could track Mia through drones, then others could be in danger. He needed to act fast. He contacted Leela through a secure channel. They are already active, he said. They can follow anyone, anywhere. Lila's voice was calm but firm. Good. That means our information was correct. We expected them to scout. Now you need to protect the station and your daughter. I cannot be everywhere at once. Daniel nodded. Understood? She paused. Your past matters. You fought them before. That is why they hesitate around you. But hesitation only lasts so long. They will adapt. You need to be ready. Daniel's jaw tightened. He knew she was right. During the fleet days, he had faced hundreds of attacks, yet this was different. Now they were invisible, patient, and targeting civilians. He spent the next hours preparing. Maps, routes, emergency exits, power lines, communication hubs, ventilation shafts, anything that could give him an advantage. He memorized patrol schedules, camera blind spots, and maintenance corridors. Then he remembered Lila's warning. Trust no one. That meant anyone, even colleagues he had worked with for years, could be compromised. He couldn't rely on anyone but himself. Night came and he packed the essentials again. Weapons, portable shields, analyzer, communicator, and the drone. Docking Bay F was his destination. He moved quietly through the station, shadows hiding him from casual eyes. Every step made him alert. Any sound could signal danger. Reaching the bay, he found it empty. The large hangar doors were closed, blocking most of the external light. He waited, senses sharp. A small flicker in the corner caught his eye. Movement. Lila stepped out of the shadows. No greetings, only a nod. "They are monitoring the station," she said. "They can appear as employees, drones, or even civilians. Any pattern can be exploited. You need to detect them." Daniel checked the bay carefully. Crates, vehicles, shadows, nothing obvious. Yet he knew danger could hide in plain sight. He set up small sensors around the bay, EMP triggers and motion detectors. Everything had to be precise. One mistake could alert the scouts. Lila watched silently. If they attack tonight, it will be subtle. Watch for signs. Signals, drones, unusual behavior. Daniel moved closer to one of the crates, a faint pulse in the corner of his vision. The same symbol. Circle with 3 lines. A small device blinking lightly. He approached, careful. As he reached it, the device suddenly emitted a soft beep and vanished. "They are testing us," Daniel said quietly. "They will escalate," Leela replied. "They always do." Daniel nodded. Memories of fleet attacks returned. Ambushes, sudden strikes, split-second decisions. This was similar, but different. Now, the civilians, the station, his daughter were at risk. He studied the bay again. A shadow shifted. Too fast, too precise. Daniel moved silently. Lila followed at a distance. Every step, every movement, calculated. The station hummed around them, oblivious to the hidden threat. Then he noticed something. A small panel in the wall slightly misaligned. Not a maintenance error. Too deliberate. He crouched, inspecting it. Inside, a tiny device similar to the drones, blinking faintly. Alien tech. Someone had already infiltrated the station. "This is not a coincidence," Daniel said. "They are already inside." Lila nodded. "I suspected it. That is why you must observe. They will strike subtly. You must detect them before they act." Daniel's mind raced. Plans, routes, traps. He checked the panel again. Devices connected to station systems. Cameras, lights, doors. They could control them if activated. He carefully removed the device and stored it. Any mishandling could trigger an alert. Outside, the station continued its quiet rotation around Earth. Ships docked and departed. Civilians went about their business. None knew the danger lurking in plain sight. Daniel and Lila moved through the bay, checking corners, shadows, crates. Every detail mattered. "Why me?" Daniel asked finally. "Why not security or fleet officers?" "Because they know you," Lila said. "And they hesitate around familiarity. They remember you from the old fleet battles. That hesitation gives us an edge. You are not a soldier now, but that edge could save lives." Daniel understood. His past was no longer something he could hide. It had returned. Not for glory, not for recognition, but to protect the people who had nothing to do with wars he had fought. He spent hours monitoring the bay, testing devices and setting up fail-safes. Each movement, each sound heightened his senses. He barely realized the time passing. Then a faint vibration in the floor, a signal. Someone approaching. Not human. Not quite human. Daniel crouched behind a crate, waiting. Lila beside him, silent. A figure appeared, shapeless at first, then solid. An employee uniform. But something was off. Movement too precise, gait too smooth. The eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the bay lights. Daniel recognized it instantly. Scout. He held his breath, gripping his small weapon. The scout moved near a control console, reaching out. Daniel waited until the perfect moment, then activated a small EMP pulse. The scout froze, sparks flickering across its chest. It twitched, unable to move, then fell silent. Lila approached carefully. Good. Quick and precise. Exactly what is needed. Daniel exhaled slowly. They are here. Already inside. And they adapt fast. She nodded. Yes. And they will not stop. But tonight, you showed they can be stopped. You are ready. Daniel checked the bay again. Silent. Shadows shifting. The hum of the station normal. Outside, Earth rotated. Peaceful. Unaware. Daniel knew the faction had returned. They were patient, invisible, and dangerous. But now he had proof. He had a plan. And he had the determination to stop them before they reached more innocent lives. As he left Docking Bay F, carrying the small alien device and his bag, he glanced at the station lights. A faint pulse, almost hidden, flickered across the hallway. Another signal. Another scout. Or perhaps a warning. The night was far from over, and Daniel knew the past was not done with him. It had returned with intent. He was ready to face it. Daniel woke to the soft hum of the station again. The lights glowed pale white, reflecting off the metal walls. He had hardly slept, thinking about the scout he had disabled the previous night. It was only one, but it meant there were more. He could feel it. The faction that had attacked him in his fleet days was back, and they were smarter now. He made breakfast for Mia in silence. She chattered about her school day, her drawings, a science experiment she had planned. Daniel smiled faintly, hiding his worry. She did not know the danger creeping through the station. She should not. Not yet. After sending her off, he received a secure message from Lila. It was brief. Come to my office. We have new information. Alone. Urgent. Daniel prepared quickly, grabbing a few tools and his portable devices. His eyes lingered on the old fleet helmet on the shelf. Memories from years ago stirred, a life he had tried to leave behind. But now it was needed again. He arrived at Lila's office. The room was quiet. She gestured for him to sit. Her face was serious. The scouts are not alone, she said. We have confirmed that they are already inside the station, not just monitoring, but infiltrating. They can appear as workers, civilians, even drones. They are patient, and they are targeting key points of the station. Daniel listened carefully.
How many?
She shook her head. We do not know. They are organized differently than before. Small groups, moving silently, observing. They leave almost no trace. Daniel nodded slowly. And the signal? The devices I found? They are connected, she said. The faction is setting up a network inside the station. If left unchecked, they could gain control over systems, life support, communications, even docking bays. Daniel felt a chill. He had seen the damage such control could cause during his fleet days. Entire stations could be crippled. Hundreds of lives could be at risk. We need a plan, he said. Lila leaned forward. We will evacuate civilians if necessary, but first, we need to identify them. You have experience in dealing with scouts. You know their behavior patterns. You can predict their moves. He thought for a moment. The scouts always tested, probed, and observed. Then they acted. One mistake, and they could disappear without a trace. We need to set traps, he said. Monitor the hallways, use decoys, and observe reactions. Their behavior will reveal them. Lila nodded. Exactly. You will lead the field observations. I will coordinate from security. You will have access to limited security data, and you must report immediately. Any suspicious activity, any anomaly, you act. Daniel swallowed. And my daughter? She stays in the school zone under protection, but you must remain vigilant. If they target children, it changes everything. Daniel clenched his jaw. I understand. He left her office and began a careful sweep of the station. Every corridor, every vent, every shadow was observed. He noted unusual behavior in employees. One man paused too long at a junction, a woman's movement seemed too precise. He marked them on his portable map. By mid-afternoon, he returned to his apartment. Mia was home. She spoke excitedly about a project, holding up a small robot she had built. Daniel smiled, hiding his concern. He checked the security sensors he had installed around the apartment and school routes. All quiet, for now. After dinner, he went back to the station corridors. He noticed faint traces of recent activity near maintenance shafts. Small footprints, residue, the faint hum of hidden devices. Someone had been there recently. He followed the trail carefully, crouching in shadows. The trail led to an unused cargo bay. He paused at the entrance, scanning carefully. Inside, crates were arranged strangely, not random. Someone had moved them deliberately. He crouched and noticed a small blinking device underneath one crate. The symbol, circle with 3 lines. Alien tech. He touched it lightly, and it pulsed. Someone was monitoring it. The scouts were still here, inside the station, waiting, observing. Daniel set up a small trap. He connected a decoy device to the station's power network, designed to emit signals detectable only to him. It would draw attention. If they moved toward it, he would know. He waited, crouched behind a crate, watching. The hum of the station filled his ears. Every shadow seemed alive. Minutes passed. Then, a sound. A soft step, precise, too controlled to be human. Daniel's hand went to his small weapon. The scout appeared, wearing a worker uniform, moving toward the decoy device. He activated the trap. A light flashed. The scout froze, twitching. Sparks flickered across its chest. It tried to move, but failed. Daniel approached slowly, careful. He could see the faint, alien glow in its eyes. He disabled it completely and collected it. Inside were small chips, all transmitting to a hidden network. He examined them quickly. They had already mapped several key points of the station. Communications hubs, life support modules, docking areas. Daniel's heart raced. The scouts were preparing for a larger action. If they succeeded, the station could be paralyzed. Hundreds of lives at risk, including Mia's. He returned to Lila with the findings. She studied the chips carefully. They are setting up for a larger operation, she said. We have a limited window. You need to act before they gain full control. Daniel nodded. I will need help, but limited. Too many people could compromise the plan. Leela gave him a small communicator. Use this to stay in contact. Security will assist only when necessary. You are the eyes and the shield. The rest will be silent support. He spent the next hours planning routes, traps, observation points, contingency plans. He marked safe zones for civilians, including Mia's school area. Every decision was precise. One mistake could cost lives. Night fell. Daniel moved through the station carefully. Shadows and lights were his allies. He monitored corridors, vents, and maintenance shafts. Every unusual movement, every small anomaly was noted. In a storage corridor, he noticed a crate slightly misaligned. He crouched and inspected it. Inside, a small device, similar to the scout's tech. He deactivated it carefully and stored it. Suddenly, A shadow moved across the far wall. A scout. It had been watching him, waiting for a reaction. Daniel's mind raced. He needed to act carefully. He set another trap, linking it to the station power grid. If the scout moved closer, it would trigger a signal only detectable to him. Then he waited. The scout approached slowly, cautious. Daniel's eyes narrowed. When it reached the device, it activated. Sparks flew, lights flashed. The scout froze, unable to move. Daniel approached and disabled it completely. He examined the remains. Alien tech, highly advanced, but imperfect. Each scout was connected to a network, but they were not infallible. He could exploit their weaknesses. Daniel returned to his apartment briefly. Mia was asleep. He checked all sensors. Quiet. For now. He thought about the past, about the fleet days, about the battles he had fought. This was different. Now, civilians, his daughter, and the station were at risk. He could not rely on a fleet, only his experience, his wits, and his careful planning. Lila contacted him through the communicator. "Good work tonight. You have slowed their progress. But this is only the beginning. They will adapt. They are patient. They will come again in different ways." Daniel nodded. "Then we will be ready." He spent the rest of the night monitoring the station. Any unusual movement, any signal anomaly, any suspicious behavior, he tracked them all. The station hummed quietly around him. Outside, Earth rotated, peaceful and unaware. Inside, the faction moved silently, invisible, preparing their next strike. Daniel knew it was only a matter of time. The scouts were patient, clever, and dangerous, but he would be ready. He would protect the station. He would protect his daughter. And he would stop the faction before they could gain control. The night stretched on, silent but tense. Every shadow could hide danger. Every signal could be a trap. Daniel sat in a small observation room, reviewing maps, traps, and sensor data. He prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The past had returned with intent. The enemy was patient. The station was vulnerable. But Daniel was ready to face it. And this time he would not allow anyone to be hurt. Daniel woke to the low hum of the station, more alert than usual. The night had been restless. Every shadow in his apartment seemed heavier, every sound sharper. He had barely slept, thinking about the scouts he had disabled and the alien devices he had recovered. They had already infiltrated the station, but he had slowed them. That was not enough. He knew the next attack would be bigger. After preparing breakfast for Mia, he checked the sensors he had installed around her school and the apartment. Everything was quiet for now. She chatted happily, unaware of the danger surrounding them. Daniel tried to smile, hiding his worry. She should not fear what she could not understand. Once Mia was at school, Daniel prepared for the day. He packed tools, small weapons, portable shields, and the recovered alien devices. He moved through the station cautiously, keeping to maintenance corridors, monitoring cameras, and noting unusual behavior. Every movement, every shadow, every flicker of light mattered. By mid-afternoon, he noticed subtle changes in the station's routine. Cleaning drones had been rerouted, some lights flickered unexpectedly, and minor alarms triggered in empty corridors. The scouts were testing the station, mapping weak points. Daniel moved quickly, marking anomalies on his portable map, then set traps and motion sensors at critical locations: the life support module, the docking control bay, and the communications center. He returned briefly to his apartment. Mia greeted him with a drawing she had made, a spaceship flying over a blue planet. He smiled faintly, hiding the tension in his shoulders. Dinner was quiet, careful. After she went to bed, he checked the sensors again. A faint signal pulsed in the maintenance shaft near the docking bay. Not human, not a normal drone. He grabbed his equipment and left. He reached the docking bay, shadows stretching long under the dim lights. Crates were stacked unusually. Daniel crouched, scanning carefully. A soft hum revealed a hidden device beneath a crate. The same circle with 3 lines glowed faintly. Someone had left it deliberately. The scouts were moving again. He deactivated the device and connected it to his analyzer. It revealed a network of signals leading to various points across the station: communications arrays, power conduits, and maintenance corridors. Someone was planning a coordinated strike. Daniel set up decoys and triggers along the signal paths. If the scouts moved closer, lights would flash, sensors would alert, and he could track them precisely. Every step needed to be perfect. One mistake and the faction could gain control. Hours passed. Daniel crouched behind a stack of crates, waiting. Every sound of metal, every shift of shadows heightened his senses. Then a faint vibration in the floor. Someone approaching. Not human. Not exactly human. The scout appeared, wearing a worker uniform but moving with precision beyond normal human capability. Daniel activated a small EMP pulse. Sparks flew across its chest. The scout twitched but could not move. Daniel approached, careful not to trigger hidden devices. Inside its chest, he found a small transmitter connected to the station network. He removed it and stored it. Minutes later, another movement, a different corridor, same methodical steps. Daniel moved quickly, setting a trap and leading the scout into it. This time, the device emitted a loud pulse, freezing the scout completely. He examined it. Alien tech, advanced but vulnerable to his quick thinking and traps. He contacted Lila through the secure channel. "They are moving faster now. They are coordinating," he said. "They will escalate," she replied. "But you have slowed them. Keep monitoring, keep traps active. Evacuate civilians only if necessary. Your daughter's zone must be secure." Daniel nodded, checking his map. The scouts' movements revealed patterns. They struck at weak points in maintenance and corridors leading to power hubs. He planned the next step carefully. He could not fight them openly. Too many civilians would be at risk. He needed stealth, precision, and traps. He moved toward the communications hub. Signals indicated a scout device had been planted. Carefully, he traced it and found it hidden inside a conduit. He deactivated it without triggering the network. The scout who had planted it had already left. They were patient. They would not act until all devices were ready. Returning to his observation point, Daniel reviewed the map of the station. He marked traps, safe zones, and likely scout routes. Each route was covered with sensors and EMP triggers. Every possible weak point was prepared. He was ready for the first real strike. Night came. Daniel moved through the station silently, monitoring corridors and vents. Every movement, every sound, every shadow was noted. The hum of the station seemed louder, sharper, more alive. Suddenly, alarms in a remote corridor triggered. A scout had been detected near a life support module. Daniel moved quickly. Shadows flickered. He reached the corridor and crouched behind a support beam. The scout appeared, precise and deliberate. He waited. When the scout reached the trigger, lights flashed, sensors beeped, and it froze. Daniel moved forward, disabling the scout completely. Inside, he found a small map showing additional scout placements. The network was larger than he had imagined. He contacted Lila. They are fully coordinated. Multiple scouts inside the station, all connected. They will act soon. "Then act before they do," she said. "You have the advantage." They do not expect swift action. Daniel moved quickly, checking the critical points. life support, communications, power hubs, and docking bays. Each area had a trap, a sensor, or a decoy device. He monitored the movements, predicting where the scouts would strike. Minutes later, a new scout appeared in the communications hub. Daniel activated the trap. Sparks flew. The scout froze. He disabled it completely. A signal blinked, showing the next point of movement. Another scout was approaching the docking bay. He moved there swiftly, crouched behind a crate, and waited. The scout appeared, moving with mechanical precision. Daniel activated the EMP pulse. Sparks flew, and the scout froze. He examined it, noting its network connections. They were planning something larger, a coordinated attack on multiple stations, using civilians as cover. Daniel knew he had to stop it. He traced the signals back to a hidden hub in a maintenance corridor. Carefully, he deactivated the devices, one by one, severing the network. The scouts began to lose coordination, their movements slower, hesitant. He contacted Lila. The network is disrupted. Their coordination is failing. Good, she said. But they will adapt. We must remain vigilant. Daniel moved through the station, checking each corridor. The scouts were disabled or scattered. Civilians were safe. Mia's school zone was secure. He allowed himself a brief sigh. For now, the station was protected. But he knew it would not last. They would adapt, plan again, and strike where they were least expected. He returned to his apartment, checked Mia, and ensured all sensors were active. She slept peacefully, unaware of the danger that had passed. Daniel watched the station from the window, lights blinking, ships moving silently. Outside, Earth rotated calmly, unaware of the hidden battle above. Daniel knew the faction had tested the station. They had adapted, infiltrated, and tried to gain control. But tonight, they had failed. He had stopped them. He had protected civilians and his daughter. Still, he could not relax. He would prepare for the next attack, learn their patterns, and protect the station. The scouts were clever, but he was patient and determined. The night passed quietly, the hum of the station steady. Shadows moved, systems blinked, and the calm exterior hid the battle that had taken place inside. Daniel prepared for tomorrow, knowing the faction would not give up. They were patient, invisible, and dangerous. He would be ready. He would protect the station. He would protect his daughter. And he would stop the scouts before they could strike again. The past had returned with intent. The danger was real, but Daniel was ready to face it. Daniel woke to the soft hum of the station, alert and ready. The previous nights had been tense, filled with scouts, hidden devices, and alien tech. He knew the faction was still active. They were patient, careful, and dangerous. Today, he had to be ready for whatever they planned next. After preparing breakfast for Mia, he double-checked her school route sensors and apartment security. She was cheerful as usual, talking about her science project and the drawing she had made. Daniel smiled faintly, hiding the worry gnawing at him. She could not know how close the danger had been, and how close it still was. Once Mia was at school, Daniel prepared his bag. Tools, portable shields, EMP devices, analyzers, and recovered scout tech were carefully packed. His old fleet helmet rested on the shelf. He did not wear it lightly. It was a reminder of what had happened in the past and what he had survived. Now, that experience would be needed again. He moved through the station cautiously. Shadows stretched long under the dim lights. Every corridor, every vent, every movement was monitored. He noted unusual behaviors among employees and civilians, even minor discrepancies. The scouts could appear as anyone, so he had to be careful. By mid-afternoon, a faint signal pulsed near the docking bays. Not human, not a normal drone, He crouched behind a maintenance pillar and traced the signal. A scout device had been planted, carefully concealed in a service hatch. Daniel deactivated it, carefully avoiding triggering the network. Whoever planted it had intended to strike when the station systems were in use. He contacted Lila. They are preparing a coordinated attack. Devices planted across critical points, she replied calmly yet firmly. Then act swiftly. Disrupt them before they activate. I trust you to lead this. Daniel moved quickly. He checked the power hub, communication center, and docking bays. Every location had a trap, a sensor, or a decoy. He monitored scout movements, predicting their strikes. Night fell, and the tension rose. Daniel crouched in the shadows near the communications hub. Every flicker of light, every hum of machinery, every shadow could conceal danger. Then he noticed movement. A scout appeared, gliding through the corridor with inhuman precision. Daniel activated a trap, a low-energy EMP pulse. Sparks flickered across the scout's chest. It froze, twitching. He approached cautiously, disabling it completely. Inside, small chips and a transmitter pulsed faintly, linked to other scout devices. The next movement appeared near the docking bay. Daniel moved swiftly, crouched behind crates, and waited. The scout appeared, uniform slightly misaligned, eyes glowing faintly. He activated a small EMP trap. Sparks flew, lights flashed, and the scout froze completely. Daniel disabled it, noting the network's weak points. He realized the scouts were coordinating for a larger strike. If all devices activated simultaneously, the station could be paralyzed. Life support, communications, docking controls. Hundreds of civilians, including Mia, would be at risk. Daniel traced the signals to a hidden hub in a maintenance corridor. Inside, multiple devices pulsed faintly, a miniature network controlling the scouts. He deactivated each device carefully, severing their control. The scouts outside froze, confused and isolated. Lila contacted him through the secure channel. You have disrupted the network. They will hesitate now, but they will regroup. Prepare for anything. Daniel nodded. I have traps, sensors, and paths mapped. They cannot act without revealing themselves. Hours passed. Shadows shifted. He moved silently through the station, monitoring corridors and vents. Any unusual movement, signal anomaly, or strange behavior was noted. The scouts were disabled or scattered, but their presence lingered. In a quiet maintenance corridor, Daniel noticed a faint light. He crouched behind a panel and watched. A scout appeared, moving carefully, its uniform almost human, but its movements precise and mechanical. He waited. The scout reached a device and activated it. Sparks flew, it froze. Daniel approached, disabling it completely. Inside, he found schematics revealing the faction's larger plan: to infiltrate other stations using civilians as cover. Daniel contacted Lila. They were planning multiple attacks across the system. I've disabled their devices. For now, the station is safe. Good, she said. But vigilance must continue. They are patient and clever. They will return. Daniel nodded. Ah, he checked Mia's school sensors. All clear. She was safe. That brought him a small relief. He returned to the observation room. The station hummed quietly, lights blinking, systems normal. Shadows moved, but Daniel knew he had neutralized the immediate threat. The scouts were still patient, invisible, dangerous. But tonight, he had won. He thought about the past, fleet days, battles, losses, and survival. All of it had led to this moment. He was not just a maintenance worker anymore. He was protector, strategist, and father. Lila's words echoed in his mind. Trust no one. Act with precision. protect those who cannot defend themselves. He understood now that courage was not about fighting alone. It was about preparation, patience, and action. Hours later, Daniel returned home. Mia slept peacefully. He checked all sensors and devices, ensuring no scout remained near her. He allowed himself a quiet moment, looking at the earth below the station. Peaceful, unaware, calm. The past had returned, and danger had followed, but Daniel had faced it, protected his daughter, and saved the station from a hidden strike. He knew the scouts would not stop. They would adapt, plan again, and strike somewhere else. But he would be ready. Daniel placed the old fleet helmet on the shelf. It had been years since he wore it in battle, yet it symbolized more than just fighting. It symbolized vigilance, resilience, and the promise to protect those he loved. He sat by the window, watching the distant stars and the rotating earth. The hum of the station surrounded him, steady, reliable, almost comforting now. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The scouts would return, or someone new would take their place. But Daniel knew he was ready. He had the experience, the preparation, and the determination. And most importantly, he had his daughter, his reason to fight, his reason to protect. The station was quiet for now, but vigilance never slept. Daniel smiled faintly, knowing he had done what few could. He had protected life, stopped a hidden threat, and proved that courage, patience, and careful planning could overcome even the cleverest of enemies. The night stretched on. Stars shone through the observation window. Earth rotated peacefully below. Inside, Daniel watched, ready. The scouts might return, but he would be there to stop them. And one thing was certain: he would never let anyone harm his daughter. The past had returned with intent, the present was guarded, and the future, though uncertain, would be met with Daniel's unwavering resolve. The station rotated silently, unaware of the battles fought in shadows. The lights blinked, the hum continued, and Daniel remained vigilant. He had faced the faction, disrupted their plans, and protected life, and he would continue to do so, whatever came next. The story of the single dad, the hidden threat, and the alien faction had reached its climax, but Daniel's vigilance would endure beyond tonight, as endless as the stars surrounding the station.